I'm Laura. I'm a homeschool mom of 3 kids, and today I'm going to talk to you about the curriculum that we used for the 2016-2017 school year for my 3rd grader and my 1st grader. For math, we used a combination of, the first book we used was Rod and Staff Arithmetic. This is grade level 3. My 1st grader is advanced, so he's able to work on the same curriculum for the most part as his older brother. Rod and Staff is a great basic math curriculum. It's easy to follow. There's not a lot of colors. And the pages aren't very busy, so it's great for both of my boys. We also used Life of Fred as a supplement. Life of Fred is done in a story. So it tells the story of a little boy named Fred who is a math professor at Kittens University, and it definitely has little boy humor in it, and my kids really enjoy the Life of Fred series. As a supplement, we also used this book. This book had really great photo examples. So here's the page on multiplication and explaining what multiplication is. And we basically just read through 1 or 2 pages a day and talked about the topic. Didn't get through the whole thing, but I do leave this on the shelf so my boys can go back and look at it on their own and kind of reference. For science, we use Bob Jones. This year they did grade 3 and 4 science. I had originally just planned on having them do the grade 3 science, but they got through that by Christmas break, so we moved on to the 4th grade science. They really enjoyed this, and it goes just deep enough to kind of spark some of their interest, and we use other supplements to learn more about certain topics. We really liked the feature of different famous scientists. And as you can see, I use these sticky tabs to mark off where we need to be by a certain period of time. For social studies, we started off using Harcourt because it's the textbook that I already had. It looks like this. This is the 5th grade book. And this one is on the United States states and regions. So it talks about the geography and history in the US. A pretty typical public school text. It's a pretty common looking textbook. We liked it okay, but already knew a lot of the information that was in this book, so we moved it through this book fairly quickly and finished by Thanksgiving break. So I decided to use a different book and go sort of in a different direction for the rest of the school year. So for the rest of the social studies, for the rest of the school year in social studies, they went through the maps and geography book. And this one says it's for grades 3 through 6, but neither one of them struggled at all with this book. It's just a workbook, but they enjoyed this and they actually learned quite a bit from it. The next thing they did was religion. So we just used the Who is God. This is a great textbook. We really like this. It went into just enough detail for them without being overwhelming. And I had them both use the junior notebooking. My daughter, who is older, used the regular notebook, and I'm glad that I went with the junior notebook because there was quite a bit more writing in the regular one. For art, we went through Let's Make Some Great Art. This is just a fun book. We really enjoyed. Let's see if I can find a page. They really loved at the beginning, throughout the book, they had little snippets of different famous artists, and they really enjoyed reading about the different artists, and we ended up going and checking out a lot of books from the library on different artists that sort of sparked their interest, and they really enjoyed that. They also had art classes through a local co-op, so they were able to get art in a multitude of ways. And finally, there's language arts. At the beginning of the year, I planned on using one curriculum for all of language arts, but it did not end up working out that way. So I ended up switching it up and using a bunch of different books, and I would like to use an all-in-one language arts curriculum, so that's what I purchased for next year. But I feel like they had an adequate amount of language arts for this year. So first they used the Harcourt Language Arts workbook. They got through these workbooks. We didn't do them every day, but about 3 times a week. They also went through the spelling workbook, and they both did grade level 3. My first grader struggled a little bit with some of the spelling and a little bit with writing out so much because his fine motor skills just weren't quite there yet. So I did do a bit of dictating for him towards the end, but otherwise it was great. We also used the ACE PACES word building paces for language arts. These were okay. They were very self-directed, so I didn't have to help out a lot with them, which was nice. But we are not gonna go with them next year. Katya Grammar with a Giggle. This is the 3rd grade book. My daughter has used the middle school book and enjoyed it, so I thought that my boys would enjoy this book. They did not. They did not enjoy the humor, and it became pretty much drudge work and monotonous, and we did not actually end up getting through this book at all. They also didn't really care for the CD. So if I could go back, I would get it something different for grammar. And finally, for writing, we did a lot of free writing, and they did a lot of writing for book reports and things like that. And then I also used this workbook. I honestly have no idea where I even got this book, but it was just a great little book. It had different ideas, like a checklist on how to proofread, making a flow chart. You might notice that I don't have a literature program, and that's because I tried this year just to encourage as much free reading as possible, and both of them really enjoy reading and have really branched out in the types of books that they will read. So in addition to this curriculum, they also are involved in several activities just in our community, as well as a homeschool co-op. So they take a variety of classes. Most of them are art or science based, and they take a total of 6 classes a year through that program. They really enjoy that program, and we'll definitely be continuing with that one next year. Thanks for watching, and if you would like to see more or if you have any questions, feel free to comment below and subscribe. Thanks.